Hey everybody. Vegans who lift weights have better bone strength. That's the title of this article. We're going to do a review and comment. We just finished our own exercise. You can see it kind of glistening, glowing from our running. So, you know, if you've read my book, Live to 150 at liveto150.org, I talk about the importance of daily vigorous aerobic exercise. It's one chapter. Another chapter talks about the importance of strength training. And that's kind of what this article is, right? That we're going to discuss. It kind of analyzed, I think the hypothesis, they were concerned that, you know, people who think traditionally, if you don't eat animal protein, then you're going to be weak. You're not going to be able to develop your muscles. And of course, from my perspective, the purpose of doing the strength training is to not get injured. Okay, I'm not talking about, from my perspective, I'm not talking about winning marathons or weightlifting competitions. And actually, I have some other words to say about bodybuilding, which we're not going to get to over here. Maybe we'll get to it at the end. Why don't you start reading, Denise?
Vegans who do strength training have similar bone strength to omnivores who do strength training, according to new research published by the Endocrine Society's Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism. Approximately 6% of people in the United States are vegan, and recent research has suggested that a plant-based diet can be associated with lower bone mineral density and increased fracture risk. The new study aimed to find out if resistance training can offset any potential diminished bone strength in vegans compared to omnivores. The study authors compared data from 43 men and women on a plant-based diet for at least 5 years and 45 men and women on an omnivore diet for at least 5 years. The researchers found vegan and omnivore participants who did resistance training exercises such as using machines, free weights, or body weight resistance exercises at least once a week had similar bone strength. The study also found that vegans who engaged in resistance training had stronger bones than vegans who did other forms of exercise such as biking or swimming.
Let's stop right there, because as I mentioned earlier in this video, it's important to get two kinds of exercise. It's important to get, the aerobic exercise, the main benefit of that is actually your mental health. It is not to lose weight. It's not to, to do anything you might think. You can have fun, I guess, but the main benefit is mental health. You're not going to build your muscles. You're not necessarily, you might gain some muscle tone, but it's going to be negligible, as this article points out. You're going to have to do strength training with resistance, right?
Yes,
and
everybody has to do that, even or not.
That's right. And the reason why is because you don't want to get injured. You want to have some kind of base muscle tone. We're not talking about winning athletic competitions here. We're just talking about surviving. Like, from my point of view, you want to have a really good life, the best life you possibly can. And in order to do that, you can't afford to get injured. And the way you do that is through strength training. So this article kind of debunks the idea that you need to have whey protein or animal-based proteins in order to build adequate muscle. And I think what it's saying is that it's almost the same, right? The muscle building through strength and resistance exercises was the same regardless of protein source?
It gets into the different types of proteins.
We'll get into it now then, yeah.
Veganism is a global trend. I wouldn't say it's a trend, it's a way of life. It has been
a lifestyle
for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
With strongly increasing numbers of people worldwide adhering to a purely plant-based diet, Christian Musich, MD of St. Vincent Hospital, Vienna, and the Medical University of Vienna in Vienna, Austria, said in a statement, "Our study showed resistance training offsets diminished bone structure in vegan people when compared to omnivores."
Wait, say that again. It offsets when compared to omnivores.
It offsets diminished bone structure in vegan people when compared to omnivores.
Does that mean that vegans have diminished bone structure? Is this bone strength or muscle strength that they're talking about in this article?
Bone strength.
Okay, all right. See, I'm talking about muscle strength. This article is talking about bone strength. They're talking about like bone density too, then, right?
You don't want to get fractures.
Okay, so they're saying that strength training is important. This guy's playing to keep a high level of bone density in addition to having a high level of muscle density. And is this article suggesting that people who are vegan might have a lower bone density in general than
Yes,
people?
that's
It
what I'm
is.
gathering.
Okay,
Yes.
that's not good news, but make sure you do your strength training, right?
The study's results challenge the notion that an exclusively plant-based diet is less efficient than a diet that includes animal products when it comes to health and fitness. Though bone strength is a benefit of strength training, especially as people age, vegans can further promote bone strength by performing strength training regularly. People who adhere to a vegan lifestyle should perform resistance training on a regular basis to preserve bone strength.
Okay.
Usage.
Well, that's true with anything, right? You use it or lose it, especially as you get older. We're over 50, and we have to use it, right? You have arms and legs. If you don't mind sitting in a chair for the rest of your life and not moving, then I guess don't do your strength exercises. But I think everybody would care about that, right?
Yes.
So you've got to use it, and you've got to, especially I guess if you're plant-based, they're saying, develop a baseline of bone density and bone strength.
Similarly, a plant-based diet has been shown to support muscle building equally as well as an omnivore diet. Traditionally, whey protein has been considered the optimal choice of protein for muscle building. However, in recent years, researchers have determined that animal-derived protein is not superior to plant-based protein.
That's good. That's good.
So yeah, pick the soy protein if you're gonna do protein supplements.
Yeah, and I think at the end of this article, we haven't gotten to it, but they do mention that this is the first time that they've definitively been able to make that statement.
Yeah.
Apparently before this article and the study, we haven't even known. And there's a lot we don't know because, as we all are aware, the animal product industry is ubiquitous and they want to stay that way. They want to keep the status quo, and they don't want to get too much information out there that might sway people sooner than they are going to eventually be swayed. In our opinion, everyone will, right? Everyone will be plant-based. So what else we got?
A study published earlier this year in scientific journal Sports Medicine found that vegans experience the same muscle gains using plant-based protein powder as omnivores using animal-derived whey. The study aimed to identify the effects of dietary protein sources, specifically plant-based versus a mixed omnivore diet, on changes in muscle mass and strength in healthy young men who strength train. The study showed that a plant-based diet composed of whole foods and soy protein supplementation is as effective as an omnivorous diet composed of mixed whole foods and whey protein supplementation for supporting muscle strength.
Okay, but let me also interject here, please. In my book, Live to 150, we talk about don't take supplements. This is one of the reasons why I think bodybuilding, and a lot of I'm guessing they're using bodybuilders here as their baseline, right? Who are doing this to measure muscle and bone strength. They're trying to get as big as possible. That's not normal, and it usually leads to diminished longevity, diminished lifespan. Any of these protein powders are isolates. They're not the whole plant. So they're kind of mixing two stuff together there. They're saying the whole plants and they're saying protein powders, right? Those are not the same thing, but of course they need to go through all this in order to make this determination scientifically and in order to be certain that there wasn't going to be some kind of detriment to taking the plants as opposed to the animals, right?
Yeah. A high-protein, exclusively plant-based diet, which means plant-based whole foods plus soy protein isolate supplementation,
Really?
is a lot
Oh my
different
God.
than a protein-matched diet, mixed whole foods plus whey protein supplementation.
So no matter what they're supplementing, okay, that's fine. But I'm concerned about longevity. But they want to conduct a scientific study. They want to make sure that they're focusing on the protein, right, and the effect the protein has.
Similarly, a study published in the scientific journal Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise found that potato protein can be as effective as animal-derived milk in building muscle.
And has iodine.
Conducted by researchers at Maastricht University in the Netherlands, the study hypothesized that because potato protein and animal milk protein share very similar amino acid composition, that both might have a similar effect on muscle protein synthesis, or the body's way of making amino acids into skeletal muscle protein.
All right, so with our review and comment on the plant-based news here, potatoes is good. That's a whole plant thing. I've never seen potato protein isolate. I don't think you have either, Denise, right? So that's talking about the whole plant. That's important because let's also not forget that all plants contain protein. You just need to eat a variety of plants. You do not need a supplement unless you're trying to win some kind of athletic competition or become a bodybuilder, right? Something like that. And those types of things, like I said, they're great if you want to do them. If that's your thing, do them. Do not expect, though, that that's going to increase your health. In fact, in most cases, it's detrimental to your health. However, like I said, I'm glad for the study. I'm glad to see it. If they didn't have any proof before that plants were equivalent in terms of their protein quality to animal product and their protein quality, at least now we have it, right?
Yeah. So we know that dietary protein can improve muscle mass and strength, lead researcher Kelsey M. Mangiano, PhD, RD, said in a statement. However, until now, we did not know if one protein food source was better than another in accomplishing optimal results.
Yeah, that's crazy. 2022, we didn't know.
Yeah.
They hadn't even bothered to do the research.
No one did a study. They just want to sell stuff.
Yeah, it's because the animal product industry just wants to keep the status quo. They like it the way it is, right?
Yeah. I'm sure
And
the whey protein sales have gone down.
yeah, and there's no mention in here of which of the proteins is more likely to cause cancer or does cause cancer versus one that doesn't cause cancer.
Yeah.
Because Dr. T. Colin Campbell says, that animal protein causes cancer. That's not even addressed in here. The other thing that is not even addressed in here is when you have the animal protein, unless it's in an isolate form, which is not ideal, like we talked about, it's going to be accompanied by too high of a percentage of calories from fat and lots of saturated fat in most cases. With the animal products, that the vehicle that's delivering you the protein, right? So there's a lot more negative benefits than are even mentioned here that on the animal product side, and a lot more positive benefits that are not mentioned on the plant side. So that's good. Let us know below if you do protein supplementation, if you do strength training, if you do like we're tired. We did running, right? We did our daily vigorous aerobic exercise. You got to do that every day for your mental health, okay? I'm glad to see these studies. I'm glad that we can review and comment on this plant-based news, and we hope to continue doing these things to kind of spread the word, right? Because if they're only coming out with this information now, what else should people have been doing studies on that they haven't done yet, right?
Yeah.
What other convincing information is out there? And also, don't forget about our events that we have coming up. Check our calendar, aPlantBasedEvents.info. It goes to Eventbrite. Our calendar, aPlantBasedDiet.org is our nonprofit. We have outdoor events coming up in our season from October through April. They're all outdoors, fully outdoors. And don't forget about my book too, it's free. liveto150.org, 150 chapters, all about longevity. And that's why I was talking about these things here with this article. And if there's other stuff that you want us to talk about, let us know in the comments. We'll make videos about it in the future.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.